Okay, SpongeBob, you can be Dirty Dan. I just want to be Patrick.
Let's get out of here before Sandy wakes up again.
Ouch!
Sorry, Patrick, but the door is slippery. It's frozen shut.
Let me have a try. Open sesame! Well, I've done all I can do.
SpongeBob is a show that's always been with me. It had been going on for a few years by the time I was born, so it's literally been on my entire life. And because of this, it holds a special place in my heart. Now, I wanted to make a video on SpongeBob for a while, whether it's on the show, the games, or talking about its impact on the internet as a whole, and somehow I've decided to do none of those and instead look at the SpongeBob Iceberg. For those of you who somehow don't know, an iceberg image is basically a list filled with different facts, theories, and other things in order from most well-known to most obscure. This was popularized with the Mario 64 iceberg back in the beginning of 2020. Anyways, let's not waste any time and get right into the iceberg. Seasons 1 to 4. Most fans agree that seasons 1 to 4 are the best seasons of SpongeBob. This would also be the last seasons with Hillenburg as a producer until season 9. Squidward is depressed. This isn't fully confirmed, but it's pretty obvious that Squidward has some sort of depression. There are many times that this is shown, but I think the episode Breath of Fresh Squidward shows this the best, with him explaining how his happy gland feels when SpongeBob and Patrick are around. Astrology with Squidward. This was a series of shorts aired on Nickelodeon. In these shorts, Squidward gives horoscopes for 6 of the 12 zodiac signs. It was originally thought that there were 2 more missing shorts, Libra and Virgo. However, it was later proved that the 6 shorts were all that were made. Battle for Bikini Bottom. Battle for Bikini Bottom is one of the many games made for SpongeBob. This game specifically has a huge cult following and a huge speedrunning community. This game is considered one of the best SpongeBob games and is even remade in 2020. SpongeBob movies. There have been 3 SpongeBob movies released as of this video. The SpongeBob movie, Sponge Out of Water, and Sponge on the Run. The first movie was created during season 4 and was one of Hillenburg's last SpongeBob projects until the second movie. After that, he stayed on as a producer for the SpongeBob series. The first movie has a lot of strange differences from the series, such as Neptune being a different character, Mindy not being in the show, the second Krusty Krab, but some of this is explained in later parts of the iceberg. My leg. Throughout the series, there are many times where Hurt Fish screams, "My leg." This became an ongoing gag and even resulted in an entire episode about the fish, which is a very good episode, by the way. 7 Deadly Sins. One of the most famous theories on SpongeBob is that the characters represent the 7 deadly sins. SpongeBob is lust, Squidward is wrath, Patrick is sloth, Sandy is pride, Krabs is greed, Plankton is envy, and Gary is gluttony. Most of these are pretty obvious as to why they're who they are, but SpongeBob being lust can be confusing, since most people assume lust means sexual love, but I read that it can be taken as just extreme love for others, which SpongeBob has, and Gary being gluttony is a weird one in my opinion, but it's basically just saying that since he is mostly seen eating, he represents gluttony. Gary and Patrick are distant cousins. This is a reference to the episode Rule of Dumb, where Patrick is told he is a descendant of royalty. In the end, the family tree shows that Gary is also a relative of the same royalty, which would put Patrick and Gary as distant cousins. First movie was Finale. Steven Hillenburg originally wanted the first movie to be the end of the series. However, Nick requested more seasons. But that doesn't mean that the first movie still isn't the end of the series, technically, which would explain why the second Krusty Krab isn't in the series and how some characters never return. Some DVDs don't have Help Wanted. So there's a period of time where Nick didn't have the rights to the song Living in the Sunlight by Tiny Tim, which was used in the Help Wanted episode. This meant that the episode was left out from early DVD releases. Apparently Nick just didn't want to pay the Tiny Tim estate for the rights, but eventually they gave in and now the episode is allowed on all DVD releases. Bikini Bottom Mysteries. On the official SpongeBob YouTube channel, there's a series of videos called Bikini Bottom Mysteries. It's sort of an X-Files style parody where they go over strange things in the SpongeBob episodes, like how fish characters will change names between episodes or even change colors. Strange SpongeBob parodies. There are a lot of SpongeBob parodies in pop culture. One super popular one is SpongeBob Hemp Pants, which was made for a TV show called VH1 Illustrated, which was a short-lived animated parody series. There is also the SpongeBob in China parody on YouTube, and many LEGO parodies.
Come on.
International dubs. There are many international dubs of SpongeBob, some just being simple censors and some being illegal dubs, such as the Persian dub. A lot of these dubs are hard to find, if not lost to Western audiences completely. Just One Krabby Patty deleted scene. So I just now realized while editing that the Just One Krabby Patty is not the right name, it's Just One Bite. I somehow made the entire iceberg without realizing that. I combined multiple icebergs, so I just used what was on theirs, so that's why. But you're just gonna have to deal with me calling it Just One Krabby Patty, sorry. In the episode, Just One Krabby Patty, there was a deleted scene of Squidward tripping the Krusty Krab security system, which was just a bucket of gas and a match. There is some discourse on why it was removed, but it's assumed Nick was worried it would cause children to play with gasoline and matches. Nicktoons Summer Splash. SpongeBob's Nicktoons Summer Splash was a summer block that ran from 2000 to 2001 on Nickelodeon that featured various Nicktoons marathons with SpongeBob and Patrick hosting, Squidward co-hosting, and Sandy in the control room. During this block, there would be custom animated segments with the characters, however the animation is very strange looking, probably because it was done on a budget. Shanghaied alternate endings. On the first airing of the episode Shanghaied, it was called the You Wish Special. During this special, fans could call in and vote on who should get the final wish from the Flying Dutchman. SpongeBob won, so from that point on the episode would air normally with the chosen ending. This led to confusion on if there ever was a contest, or if it would always have been SpongeBob winning. In the You Wish special, the alternate endings was shown, but people really felt that the contest was probably rigged, until we found the footage of Patrick and Squidward winning, confirming that the alternate endings were in fact real. SpongeBob 4D. SpongeBob 4D was a movie made for a ride that could be found in many different amusement parks. The ride was set up to move seats and spare out scents, water, air, and other things to immerse the viewer. The movie can be watched on YouTube now. Bob the Sponge and Sponge Boy. Bob the Sponge was a character in Stephen Hillenburg's comic The Intertidal Zone, which was an educational comic created to teach his students. Bob the Sponge was a sea sponge originally, but Stephen would later take that idea, make him into a kitchen sponge, and rename him Sponge Boy, which would eventually become SpongeBob. SpongeBob Rehydrated. Not to be confused with Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated. SpongeBob Rehydrated is a short animation that was played on Nicktoons in 2003. This was a parody of the movie Matrix Reloaded, and used what seems to be models from the game Operation Krabby Patty. The short is made as a trailer for a non-existent movie, and while the video has been found, the original audio is still missing. Bikini Bottom National Anthem. In the episode Imitation Crabs, SpongeBob and the robot crabs sing the Bikini Bottom National Anthem. It's also shown in the Little Yellow Book that SpongeBob can't help but dance in his underwear when he hears it. Ignoring the continuity error there, the fact that this exists implies that Bikini Bottom isn't just a town, but in fact a nation as a whole. I'd also like to point out that in the episode Good Neighbors, SpongeBob and Patrick mention the president, and Squidward thinks he's talking about the president of Bikini Bottom, which brings more credence to the idea that Bikini Bottom is a nation and not just a town. Could there be more cities around what we know as Bikini Bottom that combine to make the nation? Is just the small area we see the entire nation? We'll probably never know. Welsh dub. We talked about SpongeBob dubs. Well, one specific one is the Welsh dub. The reason it has its own spot on the list is because of some confusion around the dub. On some pages it is labeled as partially lost, with only some episodes having been archived. However, there is no list of the lost episodes. Many people say it is lost, but then in the UK, some people say it's airing currently on Welsh TV channels, so whether or not it's truly lost is kind of undecided. A Day with SpongeBob. Day with SpongeBob could have a whole video itself. Back around 2011, a DVD was found on Amazon called A Day with SpongeBob. This was labeled as a mockumentary about the actor SpongeBob. A huge search was started to find out more about this movie. They found the creators were a company called Regal Films, which led the searchers down a giant rabbit hole with many twists and turns. If you want to know more, you should watch the video by Blame It on Jorge. Bubble blowing is a metaphor for smoking. In multiple episodes, SpongeBob is shown blowing bubbles to relieve stress. In the Little Yellow Book, SpongeBob runs into the back room to calm down by blowing bubbles, like many smokers do when the nerves are getting to them. In Who Bob What Pants, SpongeBob asks,
You guys mind if I bubble?
like a person asking if they can smoke by those people. Finally, in Grandma Kisses episode, SpongeBob is shown blowing bubbles from a tobacco pipe. I Was a Teenage Gary deleted scene conspiracy. And I Was a Teenage Gary, after Squid was injected with the snail plasma, there is a fade to the next scene, which is unusual since most transitions in SpongeBob use a bubble wipe. This sparked a large theory that there was a cut scene showing Squidward transforming into a snail like SpongeBob that the censors thought were too graphic. It was said that the scene was shown in the original airing, and many people claimed to remember this scene. However, recently the original airing was uploaded to YouTube with no signs of the scene, confirming it to be false. But many people believe that the scene did exist, even saying that it's some sort of Mandela effect. Goofy Goober ice cream is a metaphor for beer. This comes from the first SpongeBob movie. In it we see SpongeBob and Patrick act drunk after eating a lot of ice cream. This is obviously what they were implying, but it does beg the question, is all ice cream like this, or is it just Goofy Goober ice cream? Krabby Patties are crab. The secret formula is the biggest question in SpongeBob. What is in the Krabby Patties? Some people believe it's crab meat. It would explain why there are not many other crabs in Bikini Bottom. It also explains why it must be kept secret, and it also turns the name to less of a fun name and more of a hint. In some countries, Krabby Patty was translated into Crab Burger, which brings more credence to this theory. Red Mist is canon. Red Mist, or better known as Squidward's Suicide, is a lost episode creepypasta in which Squidward gives up and commits suicide. It's helped to popularize the lost episode form of creepypastas. In the episode SpongeBob in Random Land, there's a scene where Red Mist is depicted, making it canon in some ways. Interestingly, later versions of the episode no longer have the Red Mist scene. It's a Wonderful Sponge / Space Cats. During the production of the third SpongeBob movie, it went through many changes before being revealed. An early draft of the movie had a species of space cats come to our world. SpongeBob the game will end up going to space, but not much else is known. It was apparently deemed too dark and scary, and was scrapped in favor of Sponge on the Run. The movie was also called It's a Wonderful Sponge. Whether it was called this during the Space Cats plot is unknown, but the name It's a Wonderful Sponge makes it seem more like a Christmas movie. Mrs. Puff's husband is in Shell City. In the episode Krusty Love, Mr. Krabs asks about Mr. Puff. SpongeBob states that she does not like to talk about it, and we then see a pufferfish lamp turn on. Seeing as Shell City made similar items, it only makes sense that Mr. Puff was caught and taken there. Floorboard Harry. In an early cut of Graveyard Shift, they were going to introduce a character named Floorboard Harry, and at the end of the episode, he would be revealed as the one flickering the lights. He was scrapped for some reason and then replaced with Nosferatu. Squidward torture porn, and the toenail scene. During the middle seasons of SpongeBob, episodes involved Squidward being hurt way more than they did before. It was so common it was given the name Squidward torture porn. One of the most infamous of these scenes was the toenail scene in House Fancy, where Squidward's toenail is ripped clean off. SpongeBob hired for a porno. In the episode Model Sponge, SpongeBob is banished from the Krusty Krab and must find a new job. In the end, he gets a job as a model in a cleaning commercial, but this can definitely be taken as a metaphor for porn scenes that are naked and it's all being filmed for other people. SpongeBob Beyond. 4 years ago, an art group called 12th Art Group created a series called SpongeBob Beyond. It was animated with 3D models and fan voices. In it, SpongeBob and Patrick travel out of Bikini Bottom and find a new land. The series ended up being renamed The Tale of Blue within a few episodes and also switched to 2D animation. Sweatin' It. Animation cells for a deleted scene in the episode Texas were found on eBay. By piecing them together, fans have recreated the short scene. SpongeBob and Tehran. In Iran, 3 SpongeBob movies were made. SpongeBob and Tehran 1 has Patrick and SpongeBob go to Iran and try a bunch of different foods. The second movie is more of the same, but they stay in Iran, and the third movie is almost entirely different with a new design and everything. The movies are obviously not official, but they have gained a lot of popularity on YouTube. SpongeBob has pubic hair. In The Smoking Peanut, SpongeBob says he has to get his hair cut. Sandy says, implying that SpongeBob has pubic hair. Yummers. In the game SpongeBob Saves the Day, Data Myers found a very strange sprite nicknamed Yummer. The sprite was on a sheet named T_temp Yummer, lending to the name Yummer. For the longest time, the community was extremely confused as to why something this creepy would be found in a SpongeBob game. Theories came out from the idea that the game was originally way scarier, Yummer was a messed up Sandy who left her suit, or even that Yummer killed Sandy. In the end, it was confirmed to just be a temp sprite made by the devs. Any porn in this store? In the episode Midlife Crustacean, there's a scene where SpongeBob, Patrick, and Mr. Krabs walk into a building. Each character yells something is walking in. However, it's hard to understand Mr. Krabs, and it sounds like he says any porn in the store.
Honey!
Any porn in the store? Wait a minute.
Now, the script states that the line is any port in this store, but I just can't hear it, and some people think they wrote that line specifically to hide the porn joke in. I like square butts. In 2009, Burger King aired a commercial to promote their SpongeBob Kids Meal toys, in which a parody of Sir Mix-a-Lot's Baby Got Back is played. There isn't much to it, just a stupidly fun commercial that seems to have been forgotten, which is why it's lower in the iceberg. Squidward is a talented artist. This is another big one on here. It also has a dedicated video made about it by Solar Sands, which we linked in the description. But in the shortest explanation of it, for us, making cartoony art is very easy. But making realistic lifelike art takes a year of study and practice, since we are mimicking what we see. The theory states that the opposite would be true for characters in SpongeBob, since they themselves are cartoony. So the idea is that for them, it's easy to draw realistic art, but cartoony art takes years of practice. And since Squidward has mastered all of these different cartoony mediums, he's actually a very talented artist. It's just the people who don't care for his cartoony art style. Patrick has brain damage. This is definitely a theory that gets talked about a lot once you go a bit down the rabbit hole. But I think the best example of it is the episode Patrick's Smart Pants, where we see that when he has a new brain, he is genuinely smart, leading to the conclusion that his own brain has to have some sort of issue. Lost SpongeBob Blink-182 music video. Back in the early 2000s, MTV had a show called MTV's Video Mods. In the show, they would take models from games and create music videos out of them. One of these games was SpongeBob Lights, Camera, Pants. They matched this up with the Blink-182 song All the Small Things. The issue is that this and many other video mods have been lost. Apparently we are very close to finding it though. Legal issues are getting in the way currently, but all we have at the moment is a small clip from a season trailer. If any of you have this episode of Video Mods, please release it and contact the Lost Media Wiki with the episode. Chum is fish. If Chum was fish, it would explain why nobody wants it, why it looks so weird, and also would explain why it's called Chum, since Chum in real life is literally just a bunch of ground up fish. Triton is movie Neptune. This is an idea I never heard of before working on this iceberg, but it basically is just saying that the reason why movie Neptune looks so different from Neptune in the show is because it's actually Triton, Neptune's son, all grown up. Patchy is mentally insane. Have you actually thought about Patchy? Patchy is the head of the SpongeBob fan club, and an avid fan of the show. However, he is also on the show that he is a fan of. On top of that, it's been shown that SpongeBob exists in his world since he has written letters to him, but it is also implied that Patchy is wrong about that in other episodes. It just doesn't make sense. Unless Patchy was insane. What if Patchy is just making up everything around the show? He isn't in a fan club, he doesn't have his own show, he never talked to SpongeBob or threw any parties for him, he is just an insane man who got too caught up in a show. SpongeBob Porn and Super Sponge. Super Sponge is a SpongeBob game for the PS1. The game is hand-drawn art for the sprites and 3D backgrounds, leading to a very interesting look. But data miners found some interesting art hidden in the game. There are multiple pictures of SpongeBob porn drawn by the artist of the game, along with many characters being named inappropriate things. I can only show so much of it, so if you want to know more about it, you can look it up. Burger King balloon theft. In 2004, Burger King had a promotion going on for the new movie. For the promotion, they had a 9-foot-tall SpongeBob balloon on top of many different stores. It didn't take long for many of these balloons to end up missing from the stores. Some of the balloons were found later, but many are just gone, never to be found again. Canon Human SpongeBob and Patrick. In the first SpongeBob movie, there was a deleted scene where SpongeBob and Patrick, after getting the crown, would run past two humans. They would say, "This place sure isn't like Bikini Bottom." Then the camera would show that the two humans were actually human versions of SpongeBob and Patrick. A human version of Squidward would also ride past on his bike. Bikini Bottom was made by nuclear radiation. This is a pretty old theory, and it isn't very obscure, but it's pretty dark, so I put it down here in the iceberg. The theory states that Bikini Bottom is named after the Bikini Atoll, which was a nuke testing ground in World War II. The radiation was what brought the fish to life, and what we are seeing is the aftermath of these bombings. SpongeBob gets arrested for having CP. In an SNL parody, multiple past presidents, including Ronald Reagan, are attempting to make an anti-Iraq propaganda film. They hire SpongeBob to help make it, and when he refuses, Reagan puts him in a jail and says to check his laptop for CP. Mr. Krabs is Pearl's sugar daddy. One of the oldest questions in SpongeBob is who is Pearl's mom? Seeing as Mr. Krabs is, well, a crab, it doesn't make sense that his daughter is a whale. What if she isn't his real daughter, though? She always is shown asking for money or expensive stuff, so what if Mr. Krabs is a sugar daddy? SpongeNob Square Nuts. So this is a porn parody of SpongeBob. The costume is hilariously bad, and overall the entire parody is just dumb and very funny to see. Revenge of the Flying Dutchman fishing gear music. In the game, Revenge of the Flying Dutchman, there is a song called Fishing Gear Music, and it's what plays 90% of the game, and it's absolute hell to listen to. Skin theory. This is another one with its own video, but the quick version is that everyone in Bikini Bottom is wearing multiple skin suits, and this is just normal. Evidence comes from things such as the salmon suit in Dying for Pie, the multiple times where someone is wearing a fake suit of the main character like in the Gorilla episode or in Spy Buddies, and many other incidents. Watch the video by Doug Woolover, link in description. SpongeBob is a mass murderer.
I'm going to the moon, SpongeBob.
The moon. Can I go?
No way, SpongeBob. Especially after your little mishap with my whirlybird.
SpongeBob will outlast human civilization. Very few shows last as long as SpongeBob has, and with no signs of it stopping, who's to say when it will truly end? When all is said and done, and the world is ended, humanity is dead, one thing that will still be here is evidence of SpongeBob. With how much merchandise is created, something will last, and SpongeBob will outlast human civilization. Episode 5572-220. Every episode of SpongeBob has a reduction number. This is just the number to show the order that episodes were made. However, for some reason, the number 5572-220 was skipped. The episode's lost. What it could be is a mystery. Maybe it's the real Red Mist, or maybe it's an episode so disturbing Nickelodeon hid it as to keep it hid from us. Or maybe it's the answer. Steven Hillenburg tried to warn us. Everyone thinks SpongeBob is just a fun show, but it's not. It's a premonition. Steven Hillenburg was trying to keep us from walking the dark path, but it's too late. SpongeBob represents many things: the 7 deadly sins, the radioactive aftermath of World War II, and it represents what will happen to us as a society if we don't give in. What is it that he is warning us of? Well, episode 5572-220 was supposed to be the final warning. It was an episode in which Steven Hillenburg tried to save us, but he failed. We are doomed. The only thing that will survive the destruction will be SpongeBob. The real iceberg was actually the friends we made along the way. Okay, this is obviously a joke one, but I want to thank everyone watching. This wasn't a video I expected to make, and I only made it because I've actually seen 2 really bad iceberg videos on SpongeBob, and I wanted to fix that. Thank you for watching. It means the world to me, and I really hope you guys stick around for more. This isn't my normal content, but I think it's not too far from what I do. I'm also really hoping that this video gets into the algorithm, and I can maybe get more than 163 subs, but who knows. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you all later. Goodbye.